Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Oscar prediction video, where today I will be taking a look at the category of Best Actor. So here we go, we are less than a week away from the Academy Awards, and I'm nervous, man. All of these categories that I've saved for the final week are categories that I didn't know the answer to then when I started the project, and I do not know the answer to now. I thought it would be easier, but it is not easy, and they're almost all above-the-line categories, which makes it trickier. I deliberately wanted to save this category until after the SAG Awards, which I do think was the right thing to do. But I'm still very hesitant here. I will say regarding the SAG Awards, the fact that Zoe Saldana won means that she now has all four of the major precursors, so my prediction is even more justified. Saldana should take home the Oscar. But lead actor, we have one person taking home 3 precursors and one person taking home 1 precursor, which you'd think would make it easy. And yet there is still a part of me that's like, what if, man? What if? Well, let's get right into it. 5th most likely to win is Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. So, I have finally, at long last, seen this movie. I put it off for about as long as I possibly could, and I will say, it's really not a bad movie. It's obviously a very, very difficult watch because of the subject matter, but I think the movie, you can get through it because the Donald Trump that is depicted in this film is not the same Donald Trump who is existing today. This is a younger person. This is far before he ever became a politician. You can see the seeds getting planted. It is like a villain origin story, a Joker origin story, as it were. But honestly, the movie is very good, and the 2 performances at the center of it, their nominations are very deserved, especially Stan's. To be perfectly honest, Stan might be my vote in this category. I can't believe I'm saying that, but what he does, because much like Austin Butler when he was nominated for Elvis, Stan is playing someone who we all are very, very familiar with. We've all seen impressions of him. We've all done impressions of him. And so Stan really gets at the heart of who this person is and actually reveals the humanity of someone who does not seem to have a lot of that. He has these little tiny inklings. He's not a good person from the start. He's already a bad person. But watching him go from a bad person to a monster, watching him completely kill any last bit of humanity inside of him is really, really heartbreaking to watch. And it's a very effective film, and I commend Stan for having the courage to do this. This is a really, really great performance. He's not going to win. The performance is only nominated for this and supporting actor. It was a bit of a fight for him to get the nomination, considering the film barely got a release and was the subject of controversy for obvious reasons. The movie wasn't even that big a deal to stir up controversy in the good way, but the thing is, this is a good film. This is a good performance. I do hope more people get the chance to watch it. I know for a fact there are a lot of people who, like me, have put off watching this for a long time, and I would recommend actually watching this. I think you can get through it, and I think it says a lot about how we got to this point. But yeah, very, very good performance from Sebastian Stan. Unfortunately, not seriously in the conversation to win. 4th most likely to win is Colman Domingo for Sing Sing. Okay, so like with Stan, Domingo is in a movie who is not nominated for Best Picture, which is a bit of a shame. This movie, when it first came out, people thought it would be the frontrunner to win Picture, and people thought Domingo could potentially win Actor, coming off his nomination last year for Rustin. Domingo is very, very good in this role, very naturalistic, and he's acting opposite so many actors who are essentially playing themselves, and he's sort of the one seasoned actor in all there, and yet he blends in so well. It's such a great ensemble that he leads. This is a very, very good performance, and I would not complain if this did win somehow, but I don't think it's going to. Again, the film, as I've talked about before in screenplay and song, this movie, for whatever reason, A24 never got the memo that everyone loves this movie, and so they never got around to showing it to anyone. Hopefully people are watching it because it has these nominations. Hopefully more and more people are checking it out because everybody who sees it loves it. But for whatever reason, the film and Domingo are not the contenders that they once hoped to be. So Domingo is not winning. Third most likely to win is Ralph Fiennes for Conclave. So this is Ralph Fiennes' third nomination. I should have mentioned that Stan is on his first nomination and Domingo is on his second. Fiennes is on his third, so moving up in the world. And this is a fine performance in Conclave. Fiennes is an actor who a lot of people really admire and has never won, so early on in the season, people were wondering if there was a chance for him. And after seeing the movie, I don't think that's realistic at all. Even if the movie is a semi-contender in Best Picture, even if it's contending in other categories, Fiennes' performance, it's just very low-key, it's very stoic and quiet, and to be perfectly honest, having been a fan of the book, I was actually a bit let down by Fiennes' performance, and I wanted him to go bigger in some of these scenes. But this is the performance that it is, and it's a solid performance for what it is. It's not a performance that I would immediately want to vote for, but maybe some people who really love the film or love Fiennes as an actor would want to vote for him. For whatever reason, Fiennes has not taken home any major precursor for his performance. Most of the precursors have gone to one of two actors. This is a well-liked performance that has been nominated at all the precursors and has done well, but I cannot place it any higher than third place in good conscience. Second most likely to win is Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. Oh boy, so now we can talk about the performances that are actually really in contention. So Timothée Chalamet, his first nomination was for Call Me By Your Name back in 2017. Since then, he's blown up, he's become a major star, and when we found out that this movie was coming out this year, a lot of people had our eyes on it as a very real contender, especially once it came out and when it got the reviews that it did. This movie did very, very well in the nomination phase of the award cycle. Every single guild was nominating it. The director, James Mangold, recognized by DGA and Oscars. We were like, oh boy, everyone loves this movie. And then the actual wins started, and for a while, we weren't seeing this movie win anything. And we were like, oh, what's going on? Why can this movie not win anything? And yesterday, I was listening to a podcast where they were specifically talking about A Complete Unknown's inability to win anything, and I was starting to feel fairly confident that Chalamet was not a serious threat in Best Actor, but then SAG happened, and he took home the SAG Award. Now, notably, the SAG Awards happened after Oscar voting has already closed, so Chalamet's speech is not going to impact awards voting. But Chalamet is still a very likable actor, and while it is true that they don't usually like to award younger actors, Chalamet is very much in the conversation. He's been nominated before. He's a big, big, big star, and clearly voters really love this movie. The reason why I'm just not feeling it, outside of the fact that he's only won one precursor as opposed to three, which I'll get to in a minute, is Chalamet's early career. The stage of Chalamet's career that he's in right now reminds me so much of Leonardo DiCaprio in his early career. So both of them got Oscar nominated at a very young age and soon after became this teen heartthrob that was known for being just a pretty face and could lead some very big movies. And after that, both of them sort of started to resent being seen as just a pretty face and both tried to take on more serious adult material. And now, for the second Oscar nomination, DiCaprio for The Aviator and Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, both biopics, both Best Picture nominees, both really well-liked movies. It's kind of odd how well the stars seem to be aligning, but of course, with Leonardo DiCaprio, they did not give him his Oscar right away. They waited until he was 40 before they gave him his Oscar. They didn't want to give him... A lot of voters saw DiCaprio as just a boy, just a pretty face, and the same thing's happening now. Chalamet, even though he's clearly a very talented actor, he's pushing 30, but he still looks like a kid, and everyone still sees him as a boy who hasn't really put in the work for the Oscar. And this one's so tough. If Chalamet had another precursor, then maybe I could see it. If they campaigned his movie for comedy musical and he won that award at the Globes, then maybe. But as of right now, I don't want to bet against stats, and I just feel like Chalamet, while he is very liked, he's gonna suffer the Leo curse. They're gonna make him wait until he's older and he's really put in his dues before they give him an Academy Award. Like, they just don't... They award young female ingenues, but not young male ingenues. With men, they really make you wait for it. And so, that is why my prediction, number one most likely to win in this category, is Adrien Brody for The Brutalist. So Adrien Brody, previous winner, the only previous winner in this category, won for The Pianist, and at the time, he was the youngest winner in the history of this category. Now, actually, he still is, but Chalamet, if he were to win, he would beat that record. And early on, there seemed to be a bit of a narrative of, ooh, Chalamet can beat the record, like, Brody just doesn't need to. But I've seen, as time's gone on, I think more people are really passionate about the Brody performance. It's a very long movie. Brody leads it, commands it. Brody gets big emotional acting scenes, which Chalamet doesn't really do. Chalamet just sort of disappears into this character and is very chill as this character. But Brody... The thing is, Brody has strikes against him too. Because of the whole AI controversy, that's going to turn some voters off of voting for him. But Brody does have Globe, BAFTA, and Critics' Choice, so 3 of the 5, and Chalamet just has SAG. So, the other day, I did a lot of research, and I made this whole chart about, okay, how many times has it happened where one performance won 3 of the 4 big precursors, and it lost to a performance that just won 1 precursor. And to my knowledge, it has happened 3 times. And one of them was Kate Winslet winning in Supporting Actress for The Reader, which I don't really count. So the only other 2 that it happened to are Eddie Murphy for Dreamgirls and Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey. So do I think Adrien Brody is going to go down that same path? My gut says no, because Brutalist is nominated for Best Picture. And it's a very well-beloved film, 10 nominations overall. A Complete Unknown has 8, which is impressive, but we've seen movies get a bunch of nominations and then still lose. We saw this happen with Elvis. It's close. It's very close, but Brody has been around longer, and Chalamet is still kind of seen as the fresh new kid on the block, but he's still seen as this fanboy thing. Like, I don't know if a lot of people are really taking him seriously, even if they love the movie. I saw one of the anonymous Oscar ballots, and there was someone who said A Complete Unknown was their favorite movie of the year and had it winning in picture, director, and screenplay, but not Chalamet. And obviously that's just one person out of thousands, so I don't want to read into that too much, but I feel like people like the movie, but not for the reasons that you think. People aren't going on and on and on about Chalamet's performance. And with The Brutalist, everyone who sees it is going on and on and on about how good Adrien Brody is. And yes, Brody has won one before and Chalamet hasn't, but I don't really think that matters because people, for once, are talking about the actual quality of the performances. That was mean. Sorry, Timmy, but I think the point remains. People are really, really, really impressed with what Brody does on an acting level and how he carries this whole epic film on his back. And I really feel like that's going to win in the end. Brody has 3 of the precursors. Chalamet has 1. It is close. I do think there is a possibility where Chalamet can win. But outside of the SAG win for Chalamet, we haven't seen a lot of guild support for A Complete Unknown in the wins. And The Brutalist seems to be the film that has more hype behind it at the moment. So, while it's definitely possible that Chalamet could upset, as of right now, I am predicting Adrien Brody to win for The Brutalist. So, thank you very much for watching, and tune in next time when I will be taking a look at the category of Best Director. See you then.